I just don't feel oppressed. I don't remember the last time somebody had something bad to say about me.
Included in the huge spending bill signed by President Joe Biden on Saturday was a provision prohibiting LGBTQ pride flags from flying over U.S. embassies.
I don't know what everybody's crying about. I don't know why everyone's so upset.
The pride flag is starting to be banned, and I say once again, it is all our fault. And the reason that I say that this is all our fault is because the pride flag, for many of you that don't know, originally Harvey Milk had apparently commissioned it, but we'll get into that another day because I'm finding out that Harvey Milk may not have been the good guy that the community always paints him as, but I need to do a bit more research. So anyway, rather than going into the history of where the pride flag started, what I will tell you is what I always knew the pride flag to be. The pride flag was originally just the rainbow. And when I was just coming out, I remember it being kind of like our secret because a lot of the mainstream didn't know what the pride flag meant. So when you would see a bumper sticker of it on a car, that usually meant it was going to be a lesbian. Just playing, but it's true. A lot of times it was the lesbians because I always used to get excited. Like, oh, let me check out this hot gay dude. And then it would turn out to be a lesbian. Nothing against the lesbians, but that's who it was. And that wasn't who I was looking for. So that flag represented a lot of disappointment for me when I was younger. That aside though, it was always just our own little secret nod to each other. Because like I said, a lot of straight people didn't even know what it was. So if I saw a pride flag sticker, say on the window of a business, or a pride flag outside of a bar, I knew that that bar was probably a gay bar. I also knew that if I saw it on a business, that meant that that business was either gay owned or they were at least going to be very open to gays and lesbians. Because at the time, nobody was really thinking about the bisexuals that way. They weren't really considered to be a part of the community because a lot of times what we thought of bisexuals at that time was that they were more trying to hide it, which I get that it's its own thing and it's not like I'm trying to start anything with the bisexuals right now. Bisexuals, good to have you. I'm definitely not coming for you. I'm just talking about historically the way a lot of us in the lesbian and gay community thought about bisexual at that time. So we didn't really consider them to be a part of the community. And then when it came to trans always wanted to be separate because their idea of making it would be to live as a gender that they identified with and completely disassociate from the gay and lesbian community. Because at the time, the ideal life for a trans person wasn't like now where they make it their entire identity. The way trans used to work was the opposite. They would transition and then live a stealth life, which is a life where they didn't ever acknowledge that they were trans and just go on living like normal people. And that was the way that the pride flag originally got introduced to my life. It was our own little secret. I would notice sometimes people would buy cars that had a pride bumper sticker on it and they wouldn't know that it was a pride bumper sticker, and it was a game that I used to play with my sister where I'd be like, you think that old lady knows she's being gay right now? Or sometimes it would be a Mexican work truck. I'm not even trying to be funny, but it really would be like a Mexican work truck, and it would just be like, okay, you think those landscapers realize they're being gay right now? But that's the way the pride flag started in my life. It was like our own secret nod to each other. It didn't have a lot of significance in the way that we prided ourselves on this flag. And I don't even know when that really started. Like there would be pride colored clothing and that was always kind of cheesy. And then the pride jewelry like necklaces. But again, that was just letting other gay people know that you were gay so that they would feel especially welcomed by you. Or if they were attracted to other gays, it was a way that you could signal to them like, hey, I'm open for business. More recently though, the pride flag has become a symbol of saying that you agree with certain politics and that there are certain things that you stand for that a lot of us in the LGBTQ community, as it stands now, don't subscribe to. Because even though the media always tries to make it seem like we're supposed to be mad about something new, I don't really know a lot of gays and lesbians that are upset about everything that the media is talking about. So when it came to this pride flag ban, a friend of mine sent it to me because they thought I should know, probably thought I would care. And I do care in the way that I think it's important to address why this has gotten so out of hand and why this isn't really a big deal for some of us. And at the end of this video, I'm going to play a video from another creator that for me kind of encapsulates the way a lot of us feel about our being LGBT at this point. So let's get started. I'm going to read this article to you guys and I'll interrupt myself to break it apart, but here we go. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Ty Rivera here, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world. Before we go any further, I'm just going to ask, as always, that you like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to comment just to help me on the algorithm, but you don't know what to comment, just leave a knife, because the community is going to come for my neck. Okay, so the article I chose is from NBC News, and the headline is, Bipartisan Spending Bill Includes Effective Ban on Pride Flags Over U.S. Embassies. And then the subheading is, a provision in the 1,012-page funding measure would prohibit most flags from flying over U.S. embassies other than the American flag. And I think that's the more important part, because it's not like LGBT is being singled out, but it does get covered in this. So let's go into the article. The bipartisan measure to avert a government shutdown includes a provision that would effectively ban LGBTQ pride flags from flying over U.S. embassies. Although the $1.2 trillion 1,012-page package does not explicitly mention barring pride flags from flying at U.S. embassies, its text embraces a Republican-led effort to prohibit the display of the LGBTQ pride flag at government buildings. Quote, none of the funds appropriated or otherwise made available by this act may be obligated or expended to fly or display a flag over a facility of the United States Department of State, other than the U.S. flag, the POW and or MIA flag, the hostage and wrongful detainee flag, flag of a state, flag of an Indian tribal government, official branded flag of a U.S. agency, or the sovereign flag of other countries. The provision does not address the display of these flags in other locations such as embassy grounds or in offices, a source familiar told NBC. The Biden administration urged Congress to pass the spending bill, describing it as a compromise between Republicans and Democrats in a statement the White House released Thursday. The measure would keep the government funded through September 30th ahead of a midnight deadline. A White House spokesperson told NBC on Saturday that Biden believes it was inappropriate to abuse the process that was essential to keep the government open by including this policy targeting LGBTQI Americans. Now, again, I don't really know a lot of people in the LGBT community that feel like we're being targeted by this kind of thing. I don't know a lot of people in the LGBT community that are even paying attention to this, nor should we be. Why do we care if they don't fly the flag, especially since the new, what's called the Progress Pride flag, is not representative of what a lot of us stand for as LGBT people. The fact of the matter is, a lot of LGBT people are not in favor of trans women in sports, the medical transitioning of kids at drag shows, drag queen story hour. I mean, some of these things, some of us would be indifferent about or not really have strong opinions on, but in a lot of cases, we don't support them to a point where that flag represents us, which is what that flag has come to mean. The Progress Pride flag really is saying that you support a political ideology that even a lot of LGBT people don't stand behind. So why would we feel targeted by the fact that you wouldn't allow it to fly, especially over a U.S. embassy? I mean, why does it have to fly over a U.S. embassy? Technically, I feel less welcomed when I see what's considered the pride flag right now. And something similar happened in Huntington Beach, California, where they decided not to fly it over the city buildings even during Pride Month, which again is fine for most of us. And I'm not really sure why this is turning into a big deal or why they're trying to lump us as LGBT people in general into this, when this is more about the activist side of LGBT and not really a lot to do with everyday LGBT citizens. And I do also agree when people say the United States flag is already meant to represent all of us. So we don't need to break up into a bunch of different groups, because then what? We're going to have a separate Latino flag, and then we're going to have to agree on that. And then there's going to have to be a separate flag for Black people, because some people would say African American and some Black people would say I'm not of African descent, I'm actually Caribbean, or I'm dark-skinned Puerto Rican. So then what becomes the Black people? people flag. So then we have to come up with the white people flag. We're going to get in a lot of trouble for that one. So how about we all just unite under the United States flag the way that it's meant to be and make that flag and this country live up to everything it's supposed to be for all of us as a collective, and stop breaking up into smaller groups and saying, I need special treatment because of this. I need special treatment because of that. That's not the way this is all supposed to work out. We're all supposed to get the same treatment as the way that it's supposed to work. And I know it doesn't. And I know that's in an ideal world, and that may never be. But at the same time, why don't we all start working together and make that what happens instead of trying to force these different flags and act like we as LGBT people are supposed to be so victimized by it. And when it comes to Pride Month, in years past, Pride was a much more important thing. But nowadays, it really has just turned into a money-making scheme again for the activists and for the organizers of Pride. It really isn't about uplifting LGBT people or giving us a sense of community or even supporting our own. If you don't know anything about Pride, in a lot of cases, Pride, the featured performers who make the most money off of being featured in Pride are 80s and 90s has-beens that in some cases aren't even gay. And if you're a gay performer, which I have been a performer at Gay Pride as a gay comedian, you're asked to work either for free or damn near close to it. And when I say damn near close to it, you're lucky if you get $50. In a lot of cases, you don't get any extras like hotel accommodations or anything like that. You get paid next to nothing to do Pride as a gay performer, even if you've done things. So even as far as that goes, it really is just benefiting the organizers of Pride as well as the activists that are pushing a particular agenda. So to me, that flag really is about activism and a particular political ideology. So let's go on. The administration fought against the inclusion of this policy, and we will continue to work with members of Congress to find an opportunity to repeal it. We were successful in defending 50 plus other policy riders attacking the LGBTQI plus community that congressional Republicans attempted to assert into the legislation, the White House spokesperson added. At least one Democrat slammed the provision, speaking with reporters on Thursday. Representative Greg Casar, who's a Democrat from Texas, the Progressive Caucus whip, chalked it up as laughable. It shows just how low the Republican Party has gotten that they've threatened to shut down government services over trying to figure out which flags can be flown in front of which buildings. I would say on the opposite side, it shows exactly how petty Democrats are being by trying to make this seem like it's an actual thing. Oh yeah, because I, as a gay American, would rather have the government shut down than just say, okay, then don't fly the flag over U.S. embassies. But let's go on. I think it's laughable, not just to Democratic voters, but to Republican voters. House Speaker Mike Johnson reportedly touted the provision as a victory in a closed-door meeting with other Republican lawmakers on Wednesday morning, according to Bloomberg. Some LGBTQ advocates downplayed the provision's impact and pointed to successful efforts from the White House and Democratic congressional leaders to remove several anti-LGBTQ provisions Republicans had originally added to the funding measure, including a limit on gender-affirming care for transgender Americans. It poses absolutely no limits to other displays of a pride flag, hosting LGBTQ plus events, or embassy employees' ability to display pride flags in their workplaces. Brandon Wolf, a spokesperson for the nation's largest LGBTQ advocacy, the Human Rights Campaign, said in a statement Friday. This is desperate spin from a speaker whose MAGA members just saw their effort to hijack the appropriations process roundly rejected. In 2019, the Trump administration began rejecting requests from U.S. embassies to display pride flags on flagpoles during LGBTQ Pride Month. Pride flags were again allowed to fly at U.S. embassies during Pride Month after Biden was sworn into office in 2021. However, the same year, House Republicans introduced legislation known as the Old Glory Only Act, which would have required the Secretary of State to ensure that no United States diplomatic or consular post flies any flag other than the United States flag over such post. The measure was unsuccessful. On the local scale, there has also been a push to enact effective pride flag bans. In January, Florida state lawmakers advanced a measure that would ban teachers and government employees from displaying flags that depict a racial, sexual orientation, and gender or political ideology viewpoint. And when it comes to the new pride flag, it includes the black and brown, which is meant to let everybody know that LGBT is also welcoming of black and brown people. people. Well, as a brown person from the LGBT community, I can tell you that a lot of the community doesn't really care how black and brown LGBT people feel about a lot of things, because in a lot of cases, a lot of black and brown people feel like a lot of the whining that's happening in the LGBT community really is unnecessary and is forcing us to take on a lot of fights that we don't really want. So trying to turn this into a victimization against all LGBT people, when really it's just a small fraction of what's already not a large group, which when I say not a large group, LGBT in general is only just over 10% of the population. So then you take the amount that really feel affected by the pride flag, and that's going to be an even smaller amount of people. But for some reason, we're all supposed to act like this is the most important thing in the world and that we're all so affected and feel so targeted. I'll tell you, I woke up this morning feeling nothing about this. I didn't feel particularly victimized, and I didn't feel like the United States government isn't recognizing me. I just don't feel like the pride flag represents that for not only myself, but like I keep saying, a lot of LGBT people just do not feel this. And this month, more than 58% of voters in Huntington Beach, California, cast ballots in favor of a measure to prohibit the pride flag and other non-governmental banners to fly on city property. And what they don't mention is that when it comes to Huntington Beach specifically, Huntington Beach said not only are we not having the pride flag, we're not having a breast cancer awareness flag, which if you know this country, if they don't care about titties, they don't care about nothing else. Which I only say half joking, but if you think about it, if something as serious and that affects as many people as breast cancer awareness isn't able to be flown over government buildings, then why would the pride flag be an exception? The efforts to prohibit the flag, a decades-old symbol of unity and LGBTQ equality, come as far-right ideologues are attempting to link the flag to a trope that links gay and transgender people to child abusers who want to groom or children. Okay, well, pretty much like I said, except for the way they paint it is as if it's the right attempting to link it to these particular types of activists that kind of do seem to be trying to come for the kids at this point. So now I want to play a speech from a creator that is actually Jenna Jameson's wife. If you're not familiar with Jenna Jameson, she's a very famous adult star from my generation, and I absolutely love Jenna Jameson. I didn't know her wife had made this until this got sent to me recently by one of my viewers here on the channel, and I think it's so perfect for the way that a lot of us feel at this point when it comes to all this stuff. She made it during Pride Month, so she starts off that way, but I'm gonna let it play in full and let you guys hear it. I might interrupt when something hits me the right way, but I just feel like it's so perfect to the way a lot of us feel. So let's go.
Punkin' is Pride Month. Let's talk about it. I'm not a big fan. I don't know what the fuck y'all are so oppressed about. I don't know what everybody's crying about. I don't know why everyone's so upset. I just don't feel oppressed. I don't remember the last time somebody had something bad to say about me because of my sexual preference, maybe because I don't talk about it. If you haven't noticed, I am a homosexual. I don't feel like I need any rainbow flags, signs, or signals to alert those around me that I am a homosexual. See, I don't make my sexuality part of my personality. As a matter of fact, I like to keep the two completely fucking separate. There's a difference. I depend on my personality to get me places in life, and I don't need anybody to feel bad for me because I eat pussy. I mean, for fuck's sake, we lit up the White House with rainbow colors back when Obama was in office. What more do we need? We can get married. I mean, I see more rainbow flags available for purchase than the red, white, and blue ones that represent our fucking country, but that's none of my business. I did sign up to die for this motherfucker, so it might be my business. See, I'm 40 years old, baby. I actually got discriminated against when I came out of the closet back in 1997. Was that 98? I don't know. I'm old. I forget shit. Nobody baked me a cake, nobody threw me a party, and nobody bought me anything with a rainbow on it when I came out of the closet. It was quite the opposite, actually. That shit built character and showed me who the real ones were, and it showed me who the fake ones were. Here's my opinion. You don't have to keep listening if you don't want to, but I think a lot of you guys are manifesting this shit. Wake up in the morning, you're like, oh my god, I'm so gay, and everyone around me is gonna hate my gayness, and somebody's gonna be mean to me, and then somebody's mean to you, and you're like, oh my god, I'm so fucking oppressed. See, I wake up in the morning, and I'm like, I'm just another regular fucking human, and I didn't go do regular human shit. None of it involves rainbow flags. Anyway, I guess what I'm trying to say is my pride flag's still red, white, and blue. You can unfollow me if you want to. I don't fucking care. Mama didn't raise no bitch.
That pretty much sums it up for me, except for the eating part. That part made the record scratch just a little bit for me, but still, the point is taken. And yeah, I don't wake up every morning feeling like I'm gonna be victimized. Certain things happen to me in life, just like certain things happen to other people in life. I don't attribute them to the fact that I'm LGBT. I, like Jesse Lawless, who's the name of this creator, grew up in a time where we did face actual discrimination for being gay. And it really did build character. I feel like a stronger person for it. And I feel like I'm not walking around like a lot of the weak, younger LGBT that are completely wrecked by everything right now. And I do agree that a lot of other LGBT people are manifesting this stuff because every day they do wake up just looking for a way to be victimized, to say that people are against them just because they're LGBT. And sometimes as LGBT people, you just need to accept the fact that maybe you just have a bad personality. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. As always, this has been Ty Rivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world.